but that's typical of my show. 9/11 was an inside job. Well, to start out, there's been a controversy about DVDs. For instance, this one is Rick Siegel, and Rick Siegel is controversial. There's an argument going about whether he enhanced his audio or not, and consequently, over here on 9/11 Mysteries, where are we? 9/11 Mysteries, right here. Now, this is a great one to watch, but the problem is that we think that she maybe there's a controversy that maybe she put extra flashes in the building, so that one's out. Then here's The Great Conspiracy by Barry Zwicker. Now, I think that's a pretty good one. I'm going to let that keep standing, although there's probably some information that could be updated. But Barry Zwicker is not a disinformation artist. Then Loose Change. Okay, they've been criticized all kinds of ways, but they were the most watched video on the internet. Go ahead and put that CG behind me that has the 501c3 information. Anyway, I'm going to continue right along here. This one, 9/11, The Myth and the Reality by David Ray Griffin. And if you like David Ray Griffin, there's lots of other ones too, but this one is a really good one to get. Myth and the Reality. It's 2006, and so it's pretty up to date. This one, well, Alex Jones, 9/11 Road to Tyranny. I think everybody should watch it, but we're trying to stay on the rational side of people, and Alex Jones seems to turn people off. Although later in the show we're going to have some more Alex Jones. There's the Jesse Ventura book. I recommend everybody read that because that's central to what we've been talking about on the last show about the new revelation of Jesse Ventura. I mean, came out in a hit piece that was criticizing Jesse Ventura. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and I wasn't going to show that right away. Just go ahead and leave that up. But I'll go down the list here a little further. Another 9/11 martial law. That's Alex Jones again. We'll just put that aside. Aaron Russo, America, from Freedom to Fascism. Excellent. It talks about the economy, and it talks about the Federal Reserve, and it talks about not having to pay taxes. But that's a little bit to do with 9/11, not very much. So that's out. Blueprint for 9/11 Truth. That is, Blueprint for 9/11, Blueprint for Truth by the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. And that brings me to the story that's right behind me here. Yeah, okay, just like they do on the news. Yeah, here. Okay, but as you can see, right up here, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth have just been awarded their 501c3 status, which means they are a non-profit organization. Now, I had a caller call up one time and say that, all these DVDs were being sold and we're making big money. But no, I'm sorry, it's a non-profit corporation, and that's heavily monitored and regulated, and it has to be accounted for. Here we go again, the last DVD here, Richard Siegel again, boom, so that's gone. Now, those are all worth looking at if you're doing research, but if you're trying to convince anybody of anything, I think what you need to have is, well, probably this one, Richard Gage's, and let's put 9/11 Mysteries back in because it still has some of the very best news and coverage of it all. But Alex Jones, I'm real good. I'm standing out of my view, huh? They switched cameras on me. Alex Jones did a rant that's far better than I can do. I get upset, and I feel just the same way that Alex Jones looks when he rants. It's outrageous that this stuff can go on and on and on, and we keep pointing out the lies and the omissions, and we get them dead to rights, and they still are unfazed. I mean, the news doesn't want to talk about it, nothing. Well, I think what we'll do is go ahead and play part of this. This was a section from a 2-hour or 3-hour part of Alex Jones's regular TV show that he has, and you can watch all of it on the internet. This is where he's talking about the letter from Jeffrey Scott Shapiro, the Fox News reporter who was trying to criticize Jesse for his 9/11 stance. He's calling him un-American, unpatriotic, doing a disservice to himself, an intellectually dishonest statement generator. I put it in the wrong grammar, so I had to move around a lot. Well, we're going to go ahead and just play that then. We'll start out kind of in the middle. We're starting with cut 3 of 4. But we'll come back right after that cut, and we'll probably open up the phone lines, and then we'll play a little bit more from cut 4. But I have other things to talk about, too. We've got David Ray Griffin's book, The Mysterious Collapse of Building 7, so we've got Building 7 on our minds today. Go ahead and play that video.
Other people, just like they do me, and they can't stand it. They want their police state in. That's why the ADL and others are calling for Patriots' arrest and law enforcement action against us yesterday, because they can't stand it. They need to have it out in the open. Just like they tried to sell torture as a good thing. They need to get you to accept it so it can be made legal and lawful. All right, let me just read the article here. We're running out of time. Bombshell. Silverstein wanted to demolish Building 7 on 9/11. Fox News hit piece against 9/11 truth, and Jesse Ventura inadvertently reveals a shocking truth for the umpteenth time, but here it is again. And it just brings back how ridiculous it is that this is out in the open. WTC leaseholder was on the phone with his insurance carrier to see if they would authorize the controlled demolition of the building. Then they got the story ready to the media that it fell on its own. Preface from Alex Jones. To truly grasp the magnitude of the story, you really have to read the entire article. Immediately after the Pullet controversy, debunkers claimed there was no plan to conduct a controlled demolition of the building, and that's all over the news. See, they've always denied, knowing it was on record they were talking about it, they lied about that. Now the fact that officials were considering blowing up the building is established. Silverstein's consistent denial that this took place is a huge smoking gun. How did Silverstein expect to demolish the building safely when such a process takes weeks or even months to properly set up, even without the additional chaos surrounding WTC 7 on 9/11? How could explosives have been correctly placed on such a short notice inside a burning building that had already been evacuated 5 hours before, unless the explosives were already in place? This new revelation is astounding, and it needs to be investigated immediately. And we can talk about how should this be investigated. As Fox News hit piece against Jesse Ventura and the 9/11 Truth Movement, written by former Washington, D.C. professor Jeffrey Scott Shapiro, inadvertently reveals the shocking truth that World Trade Center leaseholder Larry Silverstein, who collected nearly $500 million, $6 billion total, but $500 million on Building 7, in insurance as a result of the collapse of Building 7, a 47-story structure that was not hit by a plane but collapsed within 7 seconds at free fall speed on September 11th, was on the phone to his insurance carrier attempting to convince them that the building should be brought down via controlled demolition. And for 6 years of the 8.5, NIST denied it fell at free fall. But now with the recordings and the peer-reviewed studies, they said, okay, it did fall at free fall. Not pancaking. It would, all the math shows it would slow down, and it fell perfectly. The central column's blown, it falls in. Writing for Fox News, Jeffrey Scott Shapiro states, I was working as a journalist for Gannett News at Ground Zero that day, and I remember very clearly